What's up everybody, and welcome back. I haven't recommended a yandere in a while, but I found one that seems like it's going to be very interesting. And I know I say that a lot, but this is going to be very interesting. But really quick, if this seems interesting to you, leave a like and subscribe. 94% of our viewers aren't subscribed, and your subscription could help us out tremendously. So consider subscribing. But today I'm recommending I desperately avoided the Annihilation ending, and my party became sick, which is being made by Amaito Suzume and Shima. It's 4 chapters and is a light novel adaptation, so you can read it all if you'd like. It's a reincarnation, action, romance, comedy, adventure, harem, fantasy that starts in the bottom floor of a dungeon, going against the true boss, and the MC Wolka realizing he knows what's going on because he knows the story, and his party is about to get wiped out by the Grim Reaper. Narrowly avoiding dying and protecting the girl crying over him, Wolka loses his right eye and his left leg is almost cut off. He knows that him and his party are going to be killed in terrible ways because he has been reincarnated into this world for the last 17 years. But since he didn't really care for or remember the manga, he didn't realize he was in the world of a manga he once read, and is the party that set up the hero's entrance, who is supposed to show up and find them all dead and defeat the Grim Reaper for the hero's story to really start. So unfortunately, he was reincarnated as plot fodder. But while seeing his party members, Yulicia, Atori, and his master in such mental anguish from the situation, he decides to fight against the plot because he hated that they all died in the manga to begin with because he loves happy endings. So he holds his leg together with magic, which is dope, and decides to put everything he has into one last attack, being the sword drawing technique he's worked on for 10 years. It obviously works as he wakes up in a bed and sees his master coming in to check on him. She immediately starts crying and trips trying to get to him, which makes him try and check to see if she's okay, leading to him falling out of the bed. He tries to get up and falls again, thinking there's just something off with his body since he was unconscious. His master tries to comfort him and make sure he's okay before she tells him that he lost both his right eye and left leg. Yulicia and Atori show up and start crying and saying how worried they were about him. He tells them not to worry about him because he's just glad he was able to avoid the death plot for them all, and says they shouldn't beat themselves up over what happened to him because losing an eye and a leg is no big deal in comparison to saving them. But after 10 days of worrying about him, his words were the thing that broke them, and now all of them have pledged their entire lives, bodies, and souls to him and vowed to take care of his every single need and that he won't have to worry about anything ever again. Now this may seem like your typical save their life and now they become an obsessive yandere story, but it seems like it may be much more than that. Now for the first 3-ish chapters, it definitely seems that way, but it goes about it differently than most, because in most things they're yanderes because they just are, but in this they're traumatized individuals by a scenario they really didn't think they were going to survive. And when they're saved from the situation, the one who saves them, they don't know whether he will survive, and when Wolka finally does wake up, he's the only one who actually got hurt. So them becoming crazily overprotective and devoted because of all of that, to me, makes more sense and is more justifiable than most stories. On top of that though, what sets this apart is Wolka's response to his situation and the girl's personal changes. Wolka isn't a fan of how they have been affected by all of this, not only because he feels like a burden and wants to be able to get back to living his life like before they almost got wiped, but also because he wants them to emotionally heal from what they went through. It really feels like he doesn't want them to be yandere, which is played as a joke because he can't handle it kind of thing, but really because they're new personalities, which aren't really their full personalities, but this new aspect aspect of their personalities were induced by what they went through. So he wants to get back to full capacity as soon as possible, hoping that them seeing he can take care of himself and continue as an adventurer will allow them to heal from their trauma and new partial yandere personalities they picked up from it all. That to me makes this a very unique story, because it makes the event they survived and the emotional change it created a large part of the storytelling, much bigger than just the event that made Wolka realize he's in a story he read once. And on top of that, when a report is sent to the Holy Capital and the Heavenly Sword Saint Aegis Hart, who seems to be an old friend of Wolka, shows up to see how he is, her brother and best friend of Wolka, Holy Knight Roche Hart, shows up as well to investigate what happened. It seems like their party being sent there may have been intentional. So you have yandere, you have a potential mystery, and on top of that, the story Wolka reincarnated into takes place in a dark fantasy manga. All of these different elements make this very intriguing to me, and much more than a yandere harem, which already would have been enough. But the characters are good too. Wolka seems like he's going to be a good MC, because even though all this happened, he still wants to be an adventurer, so this won't turn into a slow life, but he seems like he's going to be good, because he seems like a normal guy. He doesn't have any real dramatic character traits, just think a smart shonen MC, but so far with no real joke. His magic master and party member, whose name maybe I missed, or everyone just calls her Master, is one of those older but acts younger sister type, and now with a lot of worrying and acting like a spoiled younger sister, but in a good way. Eulicia is the actual youngest, but acts the most mature type, and is Wolka's disciple who wants to inherit his sword drawing technique, and Notori is the muscle and the very mild emotions kind of airheaded dense type. They seem like they'll be a fun group. No one's very offensive, but no one's also very standoutish yet. The only problem is, like I said in the beginning, this is a light novel, which isn't a bad thing, but it is a problem for manga publishing, because usually, at least in my experiences, if it has a light novel, the probability of the manga adaptation getting cancelled is much higher. Hopefully that's not the case here, but it definitely is a fear I have with this just one day never getting a new update, which has happened to me more times than I would have liked. Either way, if this looks interesting to you, check it out and like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you want more recommendations, check out the Why You Should playlist linked below along with the merch. Other than that, I'll see all of you in the next one.